I am certain that this video will help thousands of men and women. Make sure to share it. My best friend and I will discuss something that is rarely talked about: the mechanics of emotional dependence, why we choose certain partners, the reasons we sometimes don't want to be with a good person, why rejection causes pain, and why in reality this should not happen. How do we deceive ourselves every day? You do too. So have I, and I will prove it. It all started about 9 years ago when I met someone highly respected, knowledgeable, and intellectually developed. We could have conversations on any subject, but one day we touched on the topic of relationships, and suddenly I heard the most stereotypical cliché phrases: that it's crucial to find the right person, that love is about feeling something special deep inside, and that true love means being willing to give up everything. At first I thought, what nonsense! I couldn't believe that such a rational, accomplished person could say something so naive. Naturally, I got curious and asked, and how did that work out for you? As it turned out, it hadn't worked well at all. But being an intelligent person, he refused to acknowledge that his outlook on relationships had led to disappointing results. Something had to change. The question is, why? The answer is obvious. Now I'm going to share something basic, something everyone knows but few actually apply. We all understand that when we fall in love, a specific set of hormones, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, is released. We know this, but we fail to recognize how deeply it affects our emotions, decision-making, and self-deception. The truth is, every one of us has felt pain when a partner walked away, and that pain is a clear sign that you romanticize both the relationship and the person. Only through idealizing love do we experience an emotional high that can override reality. This is addiction, yet people rarely call it what it is. Everything seems fine until a man starts obsessively chasing after a woman, searching for her, drowning her in gifts, or humiliating himself. As long as he's still in the relationship, he believes everything is okay. But this is dependency. When we look at music, movies, and literature, they all rely on drama to create emotions. If someone enters a relationship expecting that same emotional rush, believing love should be intoxicating, believing that without them, life is meaningless, then pain is inevitable. And when their partner leaves, the withdrawal begins. Hormone levels drop, and they scramble to get that person back. No one else seems interesting because their entire emotional world was tied to this one person. How should it be instead? Anyone who has practiced the approach I always talk about does not experience these issues. They will say, I feel the same whether I am in a relationship or not. My emotional state is not affected. To the average person, this sounds absurd. What do you mean you wouldn't be upset? Then you didn't really love them? But it's not about lacking love. It's about lacking dependency. People frequently confuse love with addiction, and that confusion is convenient for justifying unhealthy attachments. Anyone who has gone through this process knows they don't need to be in a relationship to feel whole. They do good things for their partner simply because they choose to, not because they are emotionally dependent. Where is real love? Is it in a man who idolizes a woman just to maintain his own emotional stability? Or in someone who can treat their partner with conscious respect, without fear of losing them? A person trapped in romanticized illusions will feel like a prisoner, constantly searching for someone new to recreate that rush. This leads to broken relationships and divorce. You cannot build a lasting relationship on emotional dependence. They will always be temporary. Some people eventually seek answers from psychologists. In my country, psychology is often misunderstood. People see psychologists as mystical figures with supernatural insight. But here's the harsh truth. Most psychology graduates lack real knowledge and don't even work in their field. Even those who have practiced for years often struggle to sort out their own lives. Yet clients still come to them for help. Even the most renowned relationship coaches and psychologists are caught in this emotional addiction themselves. Their advice won't save you. They say, yes, I've been divorced 3 times, but that's a normal. It's just life. No, it's not. They are simply repeating the same hormonal patterns, no matter how eloquently they explain it. Here's another example. I have spoken with many people whose love lives are chaotic, constantly breaking up, getting back together, feeling unsure. I asked them, can you describe what you actually want in a partner? For example, someone who cooks, is family-oriented, loves children, doesn't create unnecessary drama. I guarantee that within a month we could find multiple matches. But guess what? Not a single person agrees to it. Why? Because they don't actually want to leave the cycle of toxic relationships. Anyone experiencing pain over a breakup is still addicted, whether their partner is still there or not. Even if she has left, they still crave that high. And when I tell them, let go and start fresh, they refuse. Because addiction is the only way they know how to feel something. There is research showing that the higher a person's IQ, the more likely they are to develop unhealthy emotional dependencies. Intelligent people are masters of self-deception. They justify their actions so convincingly that even they believe their own excuses. Let me give you a personal example from the gym. I trained intensely for years, but my progress stalled. Then I got sick, took a break, and suddenly my performance improved. Why? Because before I was chasing the feeling of pushing myself to exhaustion rather than focusing on results. Relationships work the same way. When a man fears losing a woman, he is always in a defensive position. He constantly looks for reasons to stay, to fight for her, to justify his attachment. And no matter how much you try to make him see the truth, he will resist. That is why most people reject this message. If you want to break free, you must take action. Start educating yourself. Because if you don't, a year from now, you'll be in an even worse situation. The first sign that you are changing, you start laughing at romantic songs and movies. You recognize how exaggerated, predictable, and manipulative they are. The most important thing is to be honest with yourself. My own transformation wasn't about trying to be better than others. I simply wanted to understand myself, to control my emotions, and to take responsibility for my future. I succeeded, and I want the same for you.